Uh, Body fluids and circulation MCQs. Blood does not clot inside blood vessels due to the presence of A. heparin, B. fibrinogen, C. vitamin K, and D is thrombin. Heparin is a naturally occurring anticoagulant. It's a naturally occurring coagulant which is found in blood vessels, and these anticoagulants are this is anticoagulant. This naturally occurring anticoagulant is produced by basophils and mast cells, and this anticoagulant prevents the clots in blood vessels. So in blood this anticoagulant is already present, so the blood will not clot in blood vessel because of heparin. The answer is A. A drop of the following is placed separately on 4 slides. Which of them will not coagulate? A. Blood serum, B. Blood from pulmonary artery, C. Whole blood from pulmonary vein, and D is blood plasma. As we know that blood serum is nothing but it is a blood plasma, but it's without fibrinogens. Means if we remove the fibrinogens from blood plasma, it will become blood serum, and this blood serum also doesn't have the red blood cells, that is our RBC, or a clotting factor, that is our fibrinogen, not found. It includes all the proteins present in the blood that are not used. All proteins are present which are not used in clotting. And electrolytes, antibodies and antigens. So blood serum will have all proteins present which are not used in clotting, some electrolytes, antibodies and antigens, but it differs from the blood plasma because blood plasma has fibrinogen and blood serum does not have fibrinogen. So a drop of which of the following is placed separately on 4 slides, which of them will not coagulate? The answer is blood serum because it does not have the fibrinogen. Answer is A. Match column 1 with column 2 and match column 1 with column 2 and select the correct option from the codes given below. Column 1 plasma protein and column 2 is function. A. Fibrinogen, the function of fibrinogen is defense mechanism. B. Globulins, its function is osmotic balance. C. Albumins, the function is coagulation of blood. So these are the plasma proteins and these are the function. Now we have to match. As we know that fibrinogen, the function of fibrinogen is to coagulation of blood. So A will go to the third Now globulins. Globulins are the proteins present in the blood. It makes 38% of blood protein. And transport ions, hormones, and lipids. These all ingredients, these all things make the immune system so globulin protein will its function will be defense mechanism. Now third is albumin. The function of albumin is it has the 55% of blood protein. It makes a larger amount of blood protein. The major contributor to the maintaining osmotic pressure of blood plasma, and it assists in the transportation of lipids and hormones and other ions. So it is the major component of blood protein. So it plays an important role to maintain the osmotic pressure of blood plasma. So the function of albumin is to osmotic balance. That is 2. So A goes to 3, B goes to 1, and C goes to 2. So the answer will be A. The function of fibrinogen is to coagulation of blood. The function of globulin protein is for defense mechanism, and the function of albumins is to maintain the osmotic balance. So our answer is A. Our next question is, prothrombin required for blood clotting is produced in A. stomach, B. liver, C. spleen, and D is pancreas. Prothrombin is very essential for blood clotting. Essential component for blood clotting, and it is synthesized in liver. It is formed or synthesized in liver with the help of or in the presence of vitamin K, so the prothrombin is synthesized or is produced in the liver, that is B. So prothrombin required for blood clotting is produced in liver, that is B. Our next question is, the lifespan of human granulocytic WBC is approximately A. between 2 to 3 months, B. more than 4 months, C. less than 10 days, D is between 20 and 30 days. Now what is granulocyte? Granulocyte is a type of WBC. These have the granules in their cytoplasm, So these are called granulocytes, and the life cycle of these lifespan of these granulocytes are less than 10 are around 5 to 7 days. So we can go with the answer C, less than 10 days. The lifespan of human granulocytic WBC is approximately less than 10 days. That is C. Our next question is, during the process of blood coagulation, vitamin K helps in A, the formation of thromboplastin, B, conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin, C, the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin, and D is the formation of prothrombin. Now, the prothrombin is an inactive component. Prothrombin is an inactive component present in blood plasma. This inactive component in the presence of prothrombinase, it's a kind of enzyme. In the presence of enzyme prothrombinase, this inactive component prothrombin will convert into thrombin protein. With the help of vitamin K, vitamin K helps in synthesis of this prothrombinase in the liver. So the vitamin K which is produced in the presence vitamin K helps in synthesis of prothrombinase in the liver. It helps the conversion of prothrombin which is an inactive compound to the thrombin protein. So our answer will be the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Our answer is C. During the process of blood coagulation, vitamin K helps the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Now, which of the following factor is known as Christmas factor? A, factor 8, factor 12, C, factor 4, and D is factor 9. Now, what is Christmas factor? Christmas factor is a factor 9. It is a plasma thromboplastin component. It is a thromboplastin component of blood plasma. It is an activator of thromboplastin. The deficiency of this factor will cause the hemophilia disease in human being. Its deficiency will cause the hemophilia. Hemophilia disease is also called the Christmas disease. because of this disease, its name is Christmas disease. The factor due to which deficiency this disease is occurring is called the Christmas factor, that is factor 9. In this disease, it leads to prolonged bleeding, so our Christmas factor is factor 9. Which of the following factors is known as Christmas factor, that is factor 9? Answer is D. Now, what is the oxidation state of hemoglobin? A. Iron minus, B. Iron plus 2, C. Iron plus 3, and D is iron plus 4. As we know that hemoglobin is a polypeptide chain. It consists of 4 polypeptide chain, in which 2 chains are alpha and 2 are beta chains. In hemoglobin, the protein chain is connected with the non-protein part, or the prosthetic group. This is also called heme group. In this heme group, it consists of heme group consists of iron plus 2 and a porphyrin ring. Iron plus 2 is connected with the porphyrin ring. This porphyrin ring is nothing but the pyrrole molecules. Iron is in oxidation state 2. This is attached with nitrogen of pyrrole molecule with the coordination bond. This is the part of pyrrole molecule. So iron plus 2 in porphyrin ring. So the heme group is consist of iron plus 2 and pyrrole molecule. This porphyrin ring has the iron molecule in its center. The oxidation state of iron is plus 2. So what is the oxidation state of hemoglobin is iron plus 2. Now, which of the following statement is true for lymph? What is lymph? Lymph is the fluid which flows or which circulates through the lymphatic system, which circulates through the lymphatic system. The lymph is a milky liquid which contains WBC and some plasma protein and some calcium and iron, calcium and phosphorus also present there. This is something different from the blood, as the blood has RBC and platelets. So the blood has RBC and platelets, while lymph doesn't have RBC and platelets, and it has a little amount of plasma protein and calcium and phosphorus as compared to blood, but it has the WBC. So the it will be blood minus RBCs and some proteins. So our answer will be, which of the following statement is true for lymph is blood minus RBCs and some proteins? B. Heart pumps blood more forcefully in elderly persons than young ones due to, this is older persons, then younger ones due to decrease in oxygen content of blood, B. decrease in elasticity of arteries, C. fall in nutrients content of blood, and D is increase in elasticity of arteries. As in older stage, in older age, the elasticity of arteries becomes less, so the heart has to pump more, so the heart has to pump more forcefully to fulfill the requirement or to fulfill the need of blood in the organs, fulfill the requirement of blood in organs. So the heart pumps blood more forcefully in older persons than younger ones due to is the decrease in elasticity of arteries. The answer is B. Which of the following is correct about human heart? A. The volume of both atria is greater as compared to the volume of both ventricles. B. The volume of both ventricles is greater than the volume of both atria. C. The volume of both atria is equal to the volume of both ventricles. And D. Ventricles are upper chambers and atria are lower chambers in our heart. So we know that ventricles are the lower chambers and atria are the upper chambers in our heart. So this statement is wrong. The volume of both atria and ventricles, it can't be equal because they have to pump the blood into different organs. So it can't be wrong. It can't be true. Now the volume of both ventricles is greater as compared to volume of both atria. The answer is B. As we know that in the structure of heart, we can see that ventricles are bigger as compared to this is our atria and these are the ventricles, and we can see that the volume of these ventricles are greater as compared to the atria. So the answer is B. Which of the following is correct about human heart? The volume of both ventricles is greater as compared to the volume of both atria. Given below are the figures of blood vessels. Identify them and select the correct option. This figure has the smooth muscle and lumen, and B, it is not having any lumen, and C is lumen. Actually this diagram is not correct. Okay, we'll explain it. The structure of arteries. Arteries have elastic tissues because it has to pump the blood through the organs, and it has the lots of amount of blood in arteries because it comes directly from the heart. So the force will be more, blood pressure will be more in arteries. And so it will be having plenty of elastic tissues, and it will be having a smooth muscle, plenty of smooth muscle, so it can contracts with the pressure of blood, and it has the thin lumen because lumen keeps the it functions as a barrier in the blood flow. So the lumen will be very thin because the pressure is very much, so it will be thin lumen to keep the blood pressure high, so it can reach to the tissues. And for veins, there is very low blood pressure in veins, so it will be having thick walls, no thick walls. There is no need of thick walls because the pressure is very low. Their walls will be thin, and the lumen is wide. To resist less resistance will be less to blood flow. So because of low blood pressure, there is no need of thick wall. It will be having thin walls, and lumen is wide because of less resistance to blood flow. Now the capillaries. The capillaries will be having very low, almost low blood pressure because the distribution of blood is the blood pressure of blood is distributed, so the lumen is very low. Very narrow for diffusion of blood and other nutrients between the capillary and surroundings. So it can distribute the nutrients and blood to the between the capillary and surroundings, and and lumen is very narrow, such narrow that it can pass only RBCs, and it can come back to the original shape. So the structure of this will become like this. The lumen is very big. Wide lumen, and in this in structure, this is the vein, and in this is artery. The lumen is very narrow or thin lumen, and in capillary the lumen will be so we can't, this is the vein and this is the artery. Smooth muscles, it's a big lumen, so it is the artery. C is the artery and A is the, it's a small lumen, so A will be the veins. A is vein, this is artery, and B will be the capillary. So A is vein in this and this, B is capillary this, and C is artery this. So the answer will be C. Given below are the figures of blood vessels. Identify them and select the correct answer. So the A will be vein because the lumen is very wide, and the C will be artery. The lumen is very thin, and B will be the capillary, no lumen or a very narrow lumen. So the answer will be C. All veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein, hepatic portal vein, and renal vein. Now for this we need to draw the diagram. This is our heart. These are the right atria, left right ventricle, left auricle, and left ventricle. Now all veins carry deoxygenated blood. To the heart, and all arteries carry oxygenated blood. Blood. But this is our lung. The impure blood will go from right ventricle to the lungs, and it will come oxygenated blood to the left auricle. So the artery that is supplying blood to the organs is it is called artery. So this will be artery, but it is going to the lungs, so this is pulmonary artery. This will carry deoxygenated blood. And this is pulmonary vein. Veins, those are carrying blood from organs to the heart, but this pulmonary vein is carrying oxygenated blood because it is coming from lungs, so the blood is purified, so oxygenated blood is transporting in this vein. So the pulmonary vein, which is connecting the lungs to the heart, it carries the blood, the oxygenated blood. So all veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. A. Carotid artery supplies A. Oxygenated blood to lungs, B. Oxygenated blood to intestine, C. Oxygenated blood to brain, D is none of these. The carotid artery supplies the oxygenated blood to the brain, so the answer is C. Which one of the following statement is correct regarding blood pressure? A. 130 by 90 mm of Hg is considered high and requires treatment. B. 100 by 55 mm Hg is considered an ideal blood pressure. C. 105 by 50 mm Hg makes one very active. D. 190 by 110 mm Hg may harm vital organs like brain and kidney. So the normal BP of human body is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. So 130 by 90 mm Hg is considered high and requires treatment. It is not much high, and it is not required some treatment. 100 by 55 mm Hg is considered an ideal blood pressure. It is not ideal because the lower blood pressure is very low. And 105 and 55 mm Hg makes one very active. No, because of low blood pressure one can't be active. And 190 by 110 mm Hg may harm vital organs like brain and kidneys. It's true, because 190 and 110 mm Hg of blood pressure is regarded as very high blood pressure, and it leads to the heart diseases, and it can be affect, or it can be damage the vital organs like brain and kidney. So which one of the following statement is correct regarding blood pressure is D. 190 by 110 mm Hg may harm vital organs like brain and kidney. X is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation in the aorta and is its main arteries. What is X? A is heartbeat, B heart rate, C is pulse, and D is cardiac output. So our answer is pulse, because pulse is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation in the aorta. And its main arteries and its main arteries it is a regular jerk of it is a regular jerk of an artery. It is same as the heartbeat, heart rate, because an artery pulses every time the heart beats. So if the heart beats, then the artery pulses, artery will pulses. So X is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation in the aorta and its main arteries. What is X? X is pulse. C. Right atrium receives blood from pulmonary aorta, pulmonary vein, inferior vena cava, superior and inferior vena cava. Right atrium this is right atrium and this is left ventricle, right ventricle. This atrium it is getting blood from the body, but the impure blood is coming in right side, and this right aorta will get the blood from upper part of body and the lower part of body. From upper part it will come from superior vena cava, and from lower part it will come by through inferior vena cava. So right atrium receives blood from superior and inferior vena cava, that is D. Here it will also impure. Blood pressure is measured by A. Sphygmomanometer, B. Stethoscope, C. Electrocardiogram, D. is phonocardiogram. The sphygmomanometer is used to measure blood pressure. It measured the blood pressure in millimeter of mercury, and expressed as the ratio of systolic pressure over diastolic pressure. Over diastolic pressure. Brachial artery that is found near the heart. Brachial artery that is found in the arm, which is just little above the elbow. Is used to measure the BP. The BP by the help of sphygmomanometer. So blood pressure is measured by sphygmomanometer A. Heart sound which is longer is A. Lub, B. is dub, C. both equal, D. sometimes A and sometimes B. Lub is the first heart sound, and it is caused by the sudden closure of bicuspid and tricuspid valve. Sudden closure of bicuspid, that is mitral valve, bicuspid and tricuspid valve. And it is longer than the second heart sound. The second sound is caused by the closure of a semilunar valve. So semilunar valve will cause the dub sound, and this will the closure of a bicuspid and tricuspid valve will be the cause of lub sound. And as we know that it takes a longer time than the second sound, so heart sound is longer is lub A. In ECG, PR interval corresponds to A. time delay in AV node, B. SA nodal conduction time, C is increased ventricular contraction, and D is time interval between onset of ventricular contraction. So we'll draw the diagram of ECG. This is this is P, Q, R, S and T. In ECG, PR interval is the time from the beginning of the P wave and to the beginning of the QRS complex. So this is the time lag. It corresponds to the time lag from the onset of atrial depolarization or contraction of atrial depolarization to the onset of atrial depolarization to the onset of ventricular depolarization. Most of the delay occurs in the AV node. Most of the delay that occurs in AV node. So the onset of atrial depolarization the contraction of atria and then this is called atrial depolarization, and this is the ventricular depolarization when ventricles contracts. So the onset of atrial depolarization to the onset of ventricular depolarization, most of the delay occurs, that is in AV node. So in ECG, PR interval corresponds to time delay in AV node, that is A. In a standard ECG, which one of the following alphabet is the correct representation of the respective activity of the human heart? A is S start, the systole, T end of diastole, P is depolarization of the atria, and R is the repolarization of the ventricles. It's P is the depolarization of atria, and QRS is the depolarization of ventricles, and T is the polarization of ventricles. So the P is the depolarization of the atria when atria contracts, and when atria contracts and give its all blood to the ventricle, or ventricle is filled. So P depolarization of the atria. In a standard ECG, which one of the following alphabet is the correct representation of the respective activity of the human heart? Is P depolarization of the atria. Which of the following sequences is truly a systematic circulation pathway? A. Right ventricle to pulmonary aorta, from pulmonary aorta to tissues, and then pulmonary veins, and then left auricle. B is from right auricle it goes to left ventricle, then aorta, then tissues, then veins, and then right auricles. C is from left auricle to left ventricles, then pulmonary aorta, then tissues, then right auricles. And D is from left auricle to the left ventricle, then aorta, then arteries, then tissues, then veins, and then right atrium. Let me draw. This is our left auricle, this is right ventricle auricle, left auricle, and left ventricle. This is our lung. So from the blood will come from pulmonary vein, and it will goes to the left auricle, then from left auricle to it will go into left ventricle, then from left ventricle it goes to the aorta, and then it will supplies to the tissues by the means of arteries, and from tissues it will go into the auricle, and from right auricle, and from right auricle to it will go into the ventricle, and then from ventricle it will go to the lungs for purification. These are the deoxygenated blood, and this side are the oxygenated blood. So from right ventricle to it will go to the pulmonary aorta. This is right ventricle to the pulmonary aorta. No, it's wrong. From right auricle to the left ventricle. No. From left auricle to left ventricle. Yes. Left auricle to it will go in the left ventricle. Then pulmonary aorta. Then tissues, and then right auricles. No, it's wrong. From left auricle to it will go to the left ventricle. Yeah, left auricle to it's going to the left ventricle. Then from left ventricle to it will go into the aorta. and then from aorta it will divide into arteries, and then from arteries it will go to the tissues, and from tissues it will go by the means of veins to the right atrium. So the answer is D. Which of the following sequence is truly a systematic circulation pathway? From the left auricle, the purified or oxygenated blood will go into the left ventricle, and from left ventricle it will go into the aorta, and from aorta it will divide into different arteries. From left auricle, the purified blood will go from left auricle to the left ventricle, and from left ventricle to it will go into the aorta, and then aorta it will divide into different arteries, and these different arteries will distribute the blood to the different tissues, and from tissues the deoxygenated blood will go by the means of veins to the right auricle, and then from right auricle to it will go into ventricle, and ventricle to the lungs. So which of the following sequence is truly a systematic circulation pathway? Left auricle, left ventricle, aorta, arteries, tissues, veins, and right atrium, that is D. Systematic heart refers to the heart that contracts under stimulation from nervous system, B, left auricle and left ventricle in higher vertebrates, C, entire heart in lower vertebrates, the two ventricles together in humans. Systematic heart is the heart which supplies the blood to the entire part of body but not to the lungs. Supplies the blood to entire body parts except lungs. So the heart that contracts under stimulation from nervous system, no, left auricle, and this is the heart that is present in lower vertebrates. So systematic heart refers to entire heart in lower vertebrates that supplies the blood to entire body except lungs. The rate of heartbeat is regulated by the integrated activity of inhibiting and accelerating effects occurring in which part of the brain? A is cerebellum, B is diencephalon, C is medulla oblongata, D is pons varolii. The cardiac center lies in medulla oblongata. The sino-auricular node or SA node, the sino-auricular node receives the nerves or nerve fibers from the brain two types of nerve fibers, two sets of nerve fibers that cause or that controls the contraction, that controls the heartbeat. Is the heartbeat means acceleration and inhibition. Acceleration and inhibition. increase of heartbeat or decrease of heartbeat, slower down of the heartbeat. It is controlled by this cardiac center, and this cardiac center is situated in medulla oblongata. So the rate of heartbeat is regulated by the integrated activity of inhibiting and accelerating effects occurring in which part of the brain is C, medulla oblongata. During acute myocardial infarction, which of the following changes occurs in the ECG? A. Flattened T wave. B. Depressed ST segment. C is elevated ST segment, and D is increased length of PQ intervals. The ST segment represents the time between the the spread of impulse through ventricles and their repolarization. So the ST segment becomes elevated. The ST segment becomes elevated in myocardial infarction. So in myocardial infarction, the ST segment becomes elevated, means it takes much time. So during acute myocardial infarction, which of the following changes occurs in the ECG is C. Elevated ST segment. Which of the following cells does not exhibit phagocytic activity? A. Monocytes. B. Neutrophil. C. Basophil. And D is macrophage. Macrophages are the cells produced by different differentiation of monocytes in the tissues, and these are phagocytic in nature. And monocytes are the largest of all types of leukocytes. And they are mobile and phagocytic in nature. Neutrophils have fine granules, and the neutrophils are the most numerous of all leukocytes. So this will also phagocytic in nature, and they will eat the germs, so these are the also phagocytes. While as basophils are the blood cells. They are probably like mast cells of connective tissues. These are like mast cells and are not phagocyte in nature. So which of the following cells does not exhibit phagocytic activity? C. Basophils. Mark the pair of substances among the following which is essential for coagulation of blood. A is heparin and calcium ions. B is calcium ions and platelets factors. C is oxalates and citrates. D is platelets factors and heparin. Certain factors released by tissues at the site of injury. They initiates the coagulation. These factors in these factors, calcium ion plays the most important role in clotting important factor of clotting. Blood clotting can be this blood clotting can be prevented by adding oxalate and citrate ions. Oxalate or citrate ions. By in laboratories we can also add some oxalate or citrate ion to stop the clotting. By adding oxalate or citrate ion, these citrate or oxalate ion will react to the calcium and it will form an insoluble compound. And so the calcium ions will not be free for clotting. So we can prevent the blood clotting by adding oxalates and citrates. So mark the pair of substances among the following which is essential for coagulation of blood is calcium ions and platelet factors, which are found in blood. And we can prevent by capturing these calcium ions with the help of oxalates and citrates. So our answer is B. Which one of the following types of cells lack nucleus in humans? In mature mammalian RBCs, there is no nucleus, and some other organelles are also absent. In these cells, and this increase the surface area of RBC and enables them to contain more hemoglobin, which is required to transport of gas. Which one of the following types of cells lack nucleus in humans? That is RBC, and which has the main function of transporting of gases because it will be having more hemoglobin. Agranulocytes responsible for immune response of the body are A. basophils, B. neutrophils, C is eosinophils, and D is lymphocytes. Now, lymphocytes are the agranulocytes involved in immune response of the body. So agranulocytes responsible for immune response of the body are lymphocytes, that is D. What would be the cardiac output of a person having 72 heartbeats per minute and a stroke volume of 50 ml? The cardiac output is calculated by a formula of 50 ml. A is 360 ml, B is 3600 ml, C is 7200 ml, and D is 500 ml. So cardiac output is calculated by the formula, that is heartbeat multiplied by stroke volume. Heartbeat is per minute, is calculated per minute, and the stroke volume is ml per beat. Here the heartbeat is 72 and the stroke volume is 50 ml per heartbeat, and the calculation is 3600 ml per minute. So it will be B 3600 ml per minute. Excessively high rate, that is greater than 180, can reduce cardiac output because A. blood is moving too fast through the lungs to pick up enough oxygen, B. it tires out the heart muscles and so they pump slower, C is it reduces the time for ventricular filling, which reduces stroke volume, and D is the PR interval increases, which lead to the longer ventricular diastole and shorter ventricular systole. As we know that cardiac output, we can calculate the cardiac output by the number of beats per minute and the multiplication of the heart rate into the stroke volume. During diastole, the filling of the ventricle occurs. Diastole, filling of ventricles occurs, and in the first part of time, it fills the first third period of diastole. There is rapid filling of ventricles, and in the second middle of the diastole, the only some amount of blood passes through the ventricles, and but during the last third period, the atria contracts. The atria contracts and give an additional thrust to the inflow of blood into the ventricles. It will thrust heavily, and the fact that most of the ventricular filling is completed during early diastole, it is of great importance, and furthermore this leads to the decrease in the blood volume is ejected at the time of ventricular systole, hence the stroke volume is reduced. So the excessive high heart rate can reduce cardiac output because it reduces the time for ventricular filling, which reduces stroke volume, that is C. The figure represents total period of one cardiac cycle, that is 0.8 second, and A, B and C represents its stages. Identify A, B and C and select the correct statement regarding them. During A, tricuspid and bicuspid valve open and blood flows from atria into the ventricles. During B, bicuspid and tricuspid valves close, producing first heart sound, and C, during C, the semilunar valves close, producing second heart sound. D, during B, the atria contracts due to a wave of contraction by SA node. So A is atrial and ventricular diastole, and A is atrial and ventricular diastole, B is atrial systole, and C is ventricular systole. From atria, the purified blood will go into the ventricles because of the opening of bicuspid and tricuspid valves, and at the start of atrial systole, the blood will atria will contract, and all the bloods from atria will go into the ventricle by the means of bicuspid and tricuspid valves. The bicuspid and during the atrial systole, bicuspid and tricuspid valve will get open, and all blood will go from atrial by the wave of contraction of SA node. The atrial contraction will start and the ventricles will fill. At this after this stage, it's called atrial systole. After atrial systole, the bicuspid and tricuspid valve will get closed, and it makes the sound of lub sound will happen, and after this lub sound, the bicuspid and tricuspid ventricular contraction will start. ventricular contraction will start at this, that is the ventricular systole will start, and in this at this stage the semilunar wall will get open, and the blood will go from ventricles to the through semilunar walls to the aortas, and the ventricles start contracting. After this, this stage is called ventricular systole. After this ventricular systole, the semilunar wall get closed, and it makes the sound of dup, and it will be because of AV note. And after this ventricular systole, the ventriculars start relaxing, means it will start refilling because of from atria to ventricles, and the semilunar wall will get closed, and this cause the second during the closure of semilunar wall, the second sound of dup will cause, and the tricuspid and bicuspid wall open as the pressure of the ventricles fall down because of contraction, after contraction, and blood will flow from the atria into the ventricles again, and it is due to the contraction of the heart does not cause this blood flow. It is due to the fact that the pressure within the relaxed ventricle is less than that in atria and veins, so it will cause the heartbeat. So the figure represents total period of one cardiac cycle, that is 0.8 second, and A, B and C represents its stages. Identify A, B and C and select the correct statement regarding them as D. During B, the atria contracts due to a wave of contraction of SA node, that is D.